Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shaunna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Well, hello everyone. Listen, I'm back today just by myself, and I had some things I wanted to share. I spent a lot of time working with single moms this year, as you know, and one of the biggest mistakes that I see these women make on repeat is not prioritizing themselves. And I thought I would go through 3 different reasons why I think that's important and to build up a little justification as to why every person on the planet should prioritize themselves, but specifically why I give a shit about single moms. So first and foremost, if you listen to my last episode, where I was by myself, episode 94, I talked all about how self-care is important, but a really specific way that you can define what your self-care looks like is to use your love languages kind of as a guide, right? So we went through each of the love languages in that episode, and I talked through different examples for how you could use gifts as an example as your love language to guide what your self-care would look like. And then I went through each of the other ones. So that's a great episode if you want to go listen to that, because self-care is of the utmost importance. It is the number one way that we can prioritize ourselves. And I love to do this at the beginning of the day. It sets the tone for the rest of the day, but more specifically, it sets you up to be able to give to others. And listen, if you're a single mom, you've got plenty of people to give to. So give to yourself first so you are setting yourself up for success. Now, in episode 73, if you go all the way back to season 2, last season, I did an episode. It was called The Power of Rest, Giving Myself Permission to Pause. Now, listen, this particular episode was all about me justifying why I was going to hit pause on on the podcast recording. But I think it's a really great example of rest being a way that we can prioritize ourselves. So how many times do we just power through even though we're tired, or we work ourselves to the point where our bodies are like, hello, you're going to take a break now, and you get sick. Or maybe you are doing a really great job of prioritizing exercise and making sure you get those workouts in, but then you get injured. Like, those are all our body's ways of telling us, you need to rest now. And so being able to rest sometimes is the key way that you can prioritize yourself. And so I talked all about that in that episode, using me as an example. Let me tell you, that rest was crucial and it was so good. There was some shadow work to be done in that period of time for me, but mostly it was really just honoring my body telling me that I needed to rest and slow down. And then one last episode I'll tell you about, which was episode 62. So you got to go a little bit further back in season 2. And I again talked about self-care because, listen, I love self-care talk. So self-care tips that won't break the bank or take all day. And that particular episode was just to show you that, yes, self-care is glamorized and it makes it look like, it's a full day at the spa, which is the perfect self-care. And don't get me wrong, that's fabulous. But for most of us, we don't have all day to go spend at the spa, and we don't necessarily have the extra money to just, throw money at self-care. So that episode was really all about giving you practical ways that you can actually take care of yourself that don't take all day and won't break the bank. So anyways, those 3 episodes were some that I wanted to highlight just to give you a little more in-depth information after this episode, if you wanted to dive into some specific ways that self-care can be a really good way for you to prioritize yourself. Obviously, that's the first one I want to talk about because that's the one I talk about all the time and I feel super passionate about. But why the hell should you prioritize yourself? Why does it matter? Well, it's kind of a no-brainer that when we feel good, we are kind to others, right? But really, if you think about at the end of the day, what do you care about? What do you want to do well in your life? Is it that you want to show up really well for your kids? Is it that you want to have the energy and wherewithal to like invest in your building your company or showing up as a great employee? Or maybe you're climbing the corporate ladder and you want to build this career and make your next step. Like all the ways that you want to show up well in your life require you to have a full gas tank. So when you prioritize yourself and you use self-care as a mechanism, it fills your tank. It gives you something to then fuel yourself and build whatever it is that you're wanting to build. The one thing I always want to mention when it comes to showing up well for our kids, sometimes that is showing them by example how to do something. And so what I have found is kids pay more attention to what you're doing than what you're ever saying to them directly. So when you show them that you are prioritizing yourself, that you are taking care of yourself, you are teaching them how to do that for themselves because this is what the vast majority of humanity sucks at right now is taking care of yourself. And I think there's this misnomer that it's selfish to put yourself first. But the truth of the matter is, we're all here to grow and evolve and help others in some way. And the best way you can do that is to show up fully. And so when you are doing that for yourself, you're providing that example for your kids. That's what they're going to pay attention to. They're going to see that mom was tired and she rested, or she really needed a pick me up. So, she spent some time reading a book. Or for me, meditation is so important to my daily routine that at times I have had to tell my kids, hold on, we'll go do that thing, but I need to meditate first. And, it takes 15, 20 minutes. So it's not a big length of time that they're waiting, but they are witnessing me making something that is important to me a priority. And so what that means is they start to do the same thing for themselves. My son will tell me he's prioritizing spending time with his friends. And he has used the words that, it's good for his mental health. And he's not wrong. And he knows what's important. And so he is receiving permission to do that by seeing me do that for myself. And then the other thing is, I do these moon circles with Danielle Page every month without fail. They are amazing. I could not say enough good things about them. Like, DM me on Instagram if you want to know more and I will send you to her. But Danielle Page is amazing. And so I do these moon circles and it's so much more than a meditation, but this has become a really critical component of how I take care of myself on a monthly basis. So once a month, I make this a priority to the point that now my daughter is asking to do it with me because she wants to spend time with me and she knows that it's important to me. So kids are paying attention. And when we prioritize our happiness, they pay attention to that. They learn from that, how to do it for themselves, but also that we matter. As a mom, you matter. Your feelings matter. So anyways, there's all sorts of ways where I could just go on and on and on about why it's important for your kids to see you prioritize yourself. And I would argue that it doesn't make me less available to them. It makes me show up better for them. And so when I am able to prioritize myself, it gives me that fuel to then fuel my life, right? I can go show up and have the energy to take them to all the places and feed them 1,000 times a day, because why are they always so hungry? But it gives me the energy I need to be able to do that when I have taken care of myself first. And the other thing that I'll mention about allowing you to show up better for yourself and those around you is that when you prioritize yourself, you will ultimately feel more connected to whatever it is that you're doing. You'll feel more invested in the work you're doing and how you're showing up. And it makes you a better either business owner or employee or however, whatever your professional role is. It allows you to feel more fulfilled in that work when you're prioritizing yourself. And then the last thing that I will mention, so there's like three components of prioritizing yourself and why it's important. We talked about self-care and it allows you to show up better for the people in your life. But the third, and perhaps the most important thing, is that when you prioritize yourself, you are showing the universe that you know what you're worth. This, if you're out there trying to manifest anything in your life, this is the secret sauce. Being able to back up what you're asking for with action, it doesn't always mean I need to go do other things. A lot of times, the action that's required for you to manifest the thing you want is to fucking show up and do the thing that shows you are worth the thing you're asking for. So if you want more in life, you need to act like you deserve it, like you know you're worth it. And so if you're asking for an up level in your life, for example, you are trying to manifest more money. You want, the better job, bigger bank account, raise at work, whatever the thing is that you are asking for this up level. But you're walking around wearing underwear from a decade ago, or you haven't replaced your bra in years. How are you backing up that you deserve more when you're not showing the universe that you know what you're worth? So being able to prioritize yourself and also buy yourself undergarments and not just for your kids. Nobody else on the planet is necessarily going to see what you're wearing underneath your clothes unless, you've got a special someone in your life, or maybe your kids walk in the bathroom while you're getting dressed. But the point of the matter is it's an invisible to most act to prioritize your undergarments. But the universe is paying attention, and it says more about what you think you're worth than anything else. So if you are asking for more, act like it. And if you are, for example, wanting to attract the love of your life, but you're not actually loving yourself, how are you saying that you are worth being loved if you don't even take care of yourself? So the first step, I have this dating course. It's called Dating Divas. If you're interested, DM me on Instagram. I'll tell you more about it. But in the course, I walk people through how to attract someone instead of chasing. And it's all about defining what you want. But a big piece of that is knowing that you're worth it and doing what is required to attract love into your life. And the very first way to do that is to actually love yourself. So self-care is a great way. Prioritize yourself, great way. Make yourself know that you are worth it. Another really great example is, let's say you're trying to manifest a new car, or you would just love to buy a new car, but you don't actually take care of the one you have. You're not washing it on a regular basis. You're driving around. It's filthy dirty inside because you've got kids that eat there or whatever the case may be. How are you showing the universe that you're ready for more if you don't even take care of what you have? One of the examples I gave in that episode about love languages guiding your self-care was to wash your car. And this is a really great example because if you're driving around in this ratty car that is perfectly fine, like, I don't know about you, I've been driving my car for 10 years. And it's not because I can't get a new one. It's because I really actually love this car. I think I will cry when I have to replace it. It has been my most favorite car of all times. But currently, it's really filthy dirty. And I'm like, oh, shit, what am I telling the universe by driving around in this dirty car? Like, maybe it's time to go wash it and vacuum it out and take out the trash. And like, just taking those simple acts of taking care of what we have, it is sending a message to yourself as well as the universe that I deserve to drive around in a beautiful car. I deserve to drive around in a car that's, well maintained. And then the last one I'll mention on this whole show the universe what you're worth by acting like you're worthy is take a look at your friend group. And are you settling for scraps in a friendship when you really are craving deeper connection? Find ways to honor what your desires truly are. Prioritize yourself by looking at your friend group and finding out if that group of friends that you are spending time with is up-leveling you, is giving you the food for your soul that you need, if you are getting fed by spending time with them. That's an excellent way to actually prioritize yourself, is to make sure that the people you're spending time with are actually fueling you as well. So there's my 1, 2, 3 ways to prioritize yourself, because that is the single biggest mistake I see single moms make. And that is to not prioritize themselves. And those are all the reasons why I think it's important. With that, my friends, that is my short and sweet episode for you. Listen, the next time I come on to talk to just you guys, with just me, is going to be my 100th episode. I cannot fucking believe that this podcast is about to hit 100 episodes. It is like one of the biggest accomplishments that I never thought was possible. So I am going to spend time in that episode walking you through the 10 things that I've learned in starting this podcast. Probably not at all what you think they'll be either. So definitely want to tune into that next solo episode. In the meantime, you will have another interview on Thursday, so pop on over to that one as well. Make sure you subscribe, because you'll be automatically notified when those new episodes are published. And then the last thing in terms of housekeeping that I will mention is I have just published every single episode on YouTube. So if you are more of a YouTube consumer than a podcast consumer, be sure to pop on over there and you can catch all the episodes. I will be doing some maintenance to identify those episodes by number so that you can easily find them. But in the meantime, just peruse the list of episodes and give those 3 a listen that I told you about earlier in this one. So thank you, as always, for listening, for tuning in. I appreciate the listens. I appreciate even more the reviews you leave, and for telling your friends, so that we can get this episode and this podcast in the ears of people who need to hear it. I am contemplating, big contemplation, including video for the podcast for season 4. So stay tuned for my decision on that piece, because again, we can always change our minds. And with that, I hope you have an excellent rest of your week. Well, hey, thanks for listening today. And thank you for your reviews. They mean so much to me and they help this podcast grow. I just love reading them. So if you haven't left one yet, please do. Now, listener, are you having your own start again moment? Your path to thriving after divorce is here. The future may be uncertain, but there is hope. We know that losing your identity as a wife can be disheartening, and the grief that follows is humbling. In fact, it can feel crippling. But if you are ready to get back on your feet, download my Start Again guide to get you pointed in the right direction. You can find it at SimplyShaunna.com/startagain.